to show number 63 of the Jimmy Palumbo Show. That's right. My name is Jimmy Palumbo, and I, of course, am the host of the Jimmy Palumbo Show, trying to say my name as much as I can. Of course, I'm coming to you live from the undefeated media studios, also live from the Chop Sports Studios, even though I'm not in downtown Matawan. I am in downtown Wyckoff. Of course, I have so many people behind the glass for these shows. I have Doug Friedman behind the glass here at Undefeated Media, and also behind the glass, the journeyman, the veteran. That's right, Chris Gucci from Chop.
Journeyman.
You're like from my show. You're the one who just never leaves. You're always on the. I don't mean a journeyman in terms of like you're with 8 teams. I mean the guy. You're like you're Brett Gardner. You're just always supposed to be there.
All right, fair point.
If I was the GM, you would be starting in left field, but that's another story for another time. We'll get to that later. Chris Gucci. Good evening, everybody. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well.
All right. Well, this
is pretty good. I have an issue with my wallet, which we could talk about if you'd like, but I'll let you kind of go through your little rundown. But I'm fresh on the heels of like a situation outside. As you said, we're sending the link.
I believe your situation requires a little delay in my number 63. What is your situation?
So last week we went outside and played wiffle ball next to the tennis courts outside the studio. And
first of all, you're playing wiffle ball, so right away you're very, very cool to me.
Yeah.
Like
this is very uncool of me.
I'd be dating you right now.
So the intent was to play wiffle ball inside the tennis courts. There's a bench outside. So I took my stuff out of my pocket.
Somebody has a short porch and someone has a deep shot.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Wiffle ball in the tennis courts is great.
I was one of the best wiffle ball players of all time.
I put my wallet down on the bench. Then the tennis court was locked, so we were like, oh, we can't play in there. So I moved like 10 feet to the side, and then I put the rest of my stuff, my phone down on the grass on the ground. So when we were done playing, I picked up my phone, picked up my stuff, and just walked away. Realized I left my wallet there. The landscapers came by and they cut the grass. So I was like, when I see these guys, I'm going to ask them. So our producer for the Daily Show was outside, said the grass guys are here. He went up to him and asked, said, oh, yeah, I saw the wallet. It was on the bench. It got wet. And then from that point on, they forgot how to speak English. What? So he was like, okay, so where is it? And he's like, oh, I don't know. There's a lot of guys that come in and out of here. I don't know who has it. Whoa.
Here we go.
So they walk away. Rob calls me and he says, they don't know where it is. As I'm walking over there, I see the guys looking in the bushes. So now I'm trying to figure out a way to convey to them, look, I know there was money in there. I don't even really care about the money, even though I do. Just give me the wallet back.
So it looks like to me they saw the wallet, took the cash, and tossed the wallet into the bushes.
So right now I got a team outside in Matawan excavating the outside the tennis courts while I'm doing the Jimmy Palumbo show. So
this is good. So they're all looking for your wallet right now.
There is. Rob's out there and he's videotaping it. So
now,
we'll see. Maybe we get a good content out of this.
Are you going to be calling the authorities?
I think if anything, what I would do in this case before I would do something like that, because it is on my part, they didn't steal the wallet, but I might just call the number on the truck.
How did the wallet go from the bench to
first things first? I'm going to call the number on the truck, talk to the owner of the company and say, hey, look, there was an admission that they saw my wallet and thereafter there's nothing. So can we get to the bottom of this? If the money is gone, that's fine. I just want to know where in the woods did you throw the wallet?
It sounds to me like you're going to have to, but you got to get a new license, new credit card. What a pain in the ass that is.
Yep.
All right. Situation. Well, listen.
And it's Memorial Day, and I got no idea.
You need all that.
So I got a situation.
Well, listen, I think every show we should start off with what Chris lost this week.
it's honestly lengthy.
Or your soul. But I know you lose your soul many times during the week, but maybe not right before the show. So you know what? We say a little prayer to my grandfather to find Chris Gucci's wallet, and I believe before the end of the show, you will have your wallet. That's my call. That would be a cool.
That would be.
But we're gonna hope Chris gets his wallet. That's a big drag. You got to deal with landscapers and all that stuff, and it's really easy to start becoming angry at landscapers, and that'll end. That'll never end well. So we got show number 63. That's right, on the Jimmy Palumbo Show here from the Omni in Atlanta /Undefeated Media /Chop Sports Media. All right, listen, I was going to go with Marcus Thames, the coach of the Yankees. I also was going to go with Doug Van Horn, a longtime Giant offensive lineman, only because he played 12 years on the Giants from like, I don't know, 68 to 79. I think the Giants won 8 games in that period, and he started all 12. So he sucked. But then I was going to go with Carl Nelson. He was on the 86 Giants, third-round pick. You know, he was the voice of the radio for a while. He's always like your Gene Upshaw's Hall of Fame guy. But I decided to do a little research because we've been struggling lately with this bit, Christopher. And I'm going to dedicate this show number 63 to the 63 New York Giants who played in the NFL Championship and lost to the Chicago Bears 14-10. And the reason why I find it funny is because people don't realize, you know, how huge the Giants were in the 40s, 50s, and early 60s. Like they were like bigger than the Cowboys, really, in retrospect. Just as big as the Packers, by equal to the Packers.
I think, in fact, that might have been the year before the Packers started their first three-peat or their second three-peat.
Yeah, but the Giants were a big entity. Obviously, New York sports and the Yankees were also good. And of course, when you were a New York team, you always got better players, better money, all that stuff. But this game was very interesting to me. Y.A. Tittle at quarterback. They lost 14-10, but the score was 14-10 at the end of 3. It was 4 degrees with wind chill of -11 on December 29th, which how funny is that? So the Super Bowl was played on December 29th, which is funny. Also, the game was at Wrigley Field, which I think is cool. And Wrigley Field never hosted a championship football game again after that. But Y.A. Tittle, who was like probably the best quarterback in the league, he really had like, you know, pure offensive numbers for the early 60s that weren't quite like they are today. But he threw 5 picks in the game, which think about if Aaron Rodgers played in the Super Bowl, all right, or Tom Brady, and they threw 5 picks and lost 14-10 when you average 32 points a game, right? And then you only say Rodgers had 32 points a game, and then in the Super Bowl, he only scores 10 with nothing in the fourth quarter. The papers would be loaded up. That was Y.A. Tittle. Until I did a little more research, he actually got hurt like in the second quarter really bad. And back then, you know what they did, right? They gave him Novocaine directly into the knee.
So he played with a broken bone in his throwing arm.
Probably out. Like if it happened now, you'd be out. You'd be like Chad Green. You wouldn't play for 5 years.
So I'm going to blow your mind with my 63 when you're done because there's so
All
many
right.
parallels here.
All right. So it's also the last title game the Bears won till 85. I thought that was interesting. And I thought this was kind of funny. I kind of giggled at this one. The Bears won. Each player got $5,900. All right. And the losing player got $4,200. That broke all records for money made by players. But here's the key thing. You look at it and you go, well, what's the difference? Like, you know, the winning team gets $5,900, the loser $4,200. Do you know how much money $1,700 was in 1963? That was like saying, oh, you get a house or you don't get a house. You know what I mean? Like that was a monumental. So you could tell, like, could you imagine having some jerk off dogging it during the game or one of these? I don't want to say like a Deion Sanders guy because he was actually
like a prima donna.
Yes, a prima donna or somebody like storming to the sidelines or sulking, and you had the equivalent of like, you know, $500,000 at stake because this jerk off. Like, I can only imagine it must have been like offensive linemen must have just been the leaders because like imagine some cornerback is being a punk. You just go up to him and just. There's no cameras on the sidelines.
Back then, when like corners weren't even important because they barely threw. So
right, and you just go up to them and you probably just said
the way the NFL was then was so different.
Right, but can you imagine being like physically stronger? You would just go up to a guy, listen, we're going to kill you after the game if you don't. And I always hear stories about why players in the 40s and 50s hustled out during the World Series because a lot of players, if you won the World Series, you didn't have to work over the summer. Could you imagine being on a bench and you're trying to win your division, and it's 110 degrees out, and you know if we make the playoffs, the amount of money and win the World Series, I don't have to work all summer at my dad's farm. And some guys not running
just
out
different.
Of
what about guys like? Let's not talk about. The guys were going to war in the middle of their career. So
crazy. Anyway,
work was a guarantee.
I thought that was interesting. So that's the 63 Giants. And after that, the Giants sucked till really 1981 when, ladies and gentlemen, number 56, Lawrence Taylor came And that was that. So that's my 63, the 63 Giants. What do you got?
All right. So first thing I'll do is I'll go through the obligatory like NFL linemen. We have several Hall of Famers. Number 63 is actually pretty well represented in the NFL Hall of Fame. There's 7 members.
Much different than 62. 7. I didn't even see that.
7 members in the NFL Hall of Fame. Gene Upshaw, Dermontti Dawson, just to name a couple. But there is one interesting one, which I'll get to in a moment. But first, I did want to bring up Marcus Timms because he was going to be one of the guys that I chose, but I couldn't not choose the guy because once I heard you were doing the 63 Giants, I was like, all right, I'm going to go with a different guy.
Right.
But I was there for Marcus Timms' first home run as a Yankee in his career, and it was off Randy Johnson.
It's funny you were there, but I watched that live. I remember that. I thought,
Randy Johnson.
He looked like he was going to be the great. I was like, this guy's going to be awesome.
It was against the Diamondbacks in interleague, and Randy Johnson just made a mistake, and Marcus Timms made him pay. But I called him Mikey Timms for the entire game because that's what I think they even announced him as that because it was his debut. But I'm going to go with quarterback.
When he became the hitting coach, he was the hitting coach, right?
Yeah.
I was so irritated because I'm like, I was like, why are they hiring a guy who we, as a fan, you think was a shitty hitter, and he's the hitting coach? It turns out hitting coaches in Major League Baseball are loaded with guys who couldn't hit.
Yeah, it's not about it's one thing. Coaching is not hitting; it's different. But my guy, number 63, quarterback from the New York Giants, the 1963 New York Giants, Y.A. Tittle.
Now wait a minute. Now, see, I saw that, but I thought again. The reason why I'm even in business with Undefeated Media is number one, they're adorable, but number two, I get confused when I research a number because if a guy wore a number for 8 seconds, they listed as him wearing the number. I thought Y.A. Tittle was number 64. That's what came up on the list I was at.
Hey, I'm saying it's 7 Hall of Famers. I don't know when he wore it, but it said he wore it for seasons. And number 63 quarterback, Y.A. Tittle, New York Giants.
My brother's going to kill me because number one, I should know that it was 63. And, but I thought I said, maybe he was 64. But
now you got me. I'm looking at it.
That's a good one. You got me there. I suck. So Frank, don't text me that I suck because I'm saying it on the air now. There's also a famous picture of Y.A. Tittle all bloodied up in the end zone. You ever see that one? It's in black and white.
Of course.
It's like the famous probably top 20 NFL, older NFL pictures.
I have a book that's like the top 100 NFL pictures of all time, and that's definitely in there. 100%.
He looks like to me, he looks like that to me is what a Rutgers fan in football looks like after the season. They should just show me in the end zone, all bloodied up. But all right, so that's it. We got Y.A. Tittle all over the place here, Shay. And of course, Marcus, is it Timms? Am I saying it wrong?
Timms.
It's Timms. All right. Anyway. So that's it, show number 63. Now let's get right to it. We have the weight loss segment here, sponsored by Absolute Eyewear. That's right. 42 Main Street, Woodbridge, New Jersey, 732-326-3937. For the creepy people out there, it's 732-326-EYES. I know Janine loves that. It's owned by Craig and Janine Michaud. That's right. They're opticians. They're the best. Craig's my right center fielder on my softball team when I had a softball team. And they're full-service opticians. They got prescription eyewear, prescription sunglasses. They got safety glasses, glasses for the kids, eye exams. They have different brands. Your attention, please. Now available at Absolute Eyewear, Ray-Ban, Coach, Ralph Lauren, Jimmy Choo, Silhouette, Michael Kors, Vogue, Maui Jim, and Costa Del Mar. They got discounts for all the, AAA, AARP, $100 off a complete pair of eyeglasses when you mention this podcast. Of course, Chris is still blind as a bat. He refuses to go. They've been in business like 18 years or something like that. They're open 5 days a week. Chris, they're closed on Wednesday. Why are they closed Wednesday?
It's obviously softball day.
And why are they closed on Sundays?
Pretty sure that's football.
There you go, Chris. I love just including you. That's the way we satisfy the contract by including you in the ad. Of course, I see posts by Janine on Chop Sports and on her Facebook. She's always at cool places, but we never get invited to these cool places. You ever notice that? She's always at like lakes and mountains and skiing. and I'm in like, I'm here in like Paramus. But go check out Absolute Eyewear. Now, let's get right to it. I have a friend of mine's company sponsoring my fatness, which I think is that's the only way to go. Last week, I came in at 202.5, which was, not where I wanted to be. This week, I came in at 199.9. So I am in my April 1st Avenel show weight. Now, I wanted to be down to 195 by this show, but then I had to appeal to the government, and we got it moved to your. I'm going to be doing. Somehow you're going to include me in your show on Thursday, Chop Sports Daily Show, which is a great show. Got to check it out with Dave Sturcho and Chris Gucci at 11 a.m. live. I just don't know if I can get from 199.9 to 195 by Thursday, unless, and this is where I need you, Chris. Now, I haven't really included you and asked you for help much with my world, but you mentioned something last week about whether this was a championship bout or a non-championship bout, and there's a 2 or 3 pound weight limit. So here's what we're going to do. I will announce my weight on your show on my birthday, and it's also whose else's birthday it is. It's Chris
my birthday,
Gucci's
of course. Yeah, I'll be
so
40,
birthday
bro.
day here at Shea. You're 40. I'm 57, which means I really only have 3 more days to book something good because I said I was going to book something really big. Maybe the audition today will count under the LT guys because 57 means I turn into Byron Hunt. That is hysterical for someone who just drove off the road. Otherwise, it's not really that funny. But I'm going to have to, when I give the weight, you're going to be like the official governing body of the WBA, LBA. Remember back then it was like 8.
Yeah, they're still all there. Trust me.
Like you're going to have to rule whether I qualified for my 195.
I also have a couple tricks that I could help you with when it comes to like finessing the scale. Just put your finger on the counter next to you, and press a little bit on it and you'll lose a pound.
Maybe, but that's kind of, I know I'll try to pee a lot before I get on. But I have to, by 11 o'clock show, I'm about to wait to the end of the show. If I have to pee or poop or I'll be spitting up blood. I got to see. I just don't think I can lose. Really, it's 5 pounds in 3 days.
You can do it. You just have to completely dehydrate yourself. You got to sit in a sauna and then not eat for 24 hours and you'll float the weight. Floating the weight means you won't even have to, just don't eat for
now, unofficially,
36 hours before
in order to qualify for the WBA, unofficially, but I wanted to make this a championship bout. I really did. But
yeah, well, that's not going to happen. What's going to end up happening here?
Hit the sauna for a couple of days.
I know.
Sweat it out.
I know, but I don't.
It's easier said than done because when you sweat out water weight, the minute you take a sip of water, your body's going to retain that. You have to go to the sauna for 2 days before and drink very minimal. So your intake has to be less than you sweat.
Okay, now again, this is where Chris Gucci, he is the Ernest Biner of producers, and I'll tell you why. He's been wonderful, but then you guys throw the word sauna out as if how many of my friends just can casually go to a sauna? I wouldn't know what
the gym.
Don't you go play pickleball somewhere at some place?
90 degrees outside.
I guarantee you they got a sauna in there.
You guys are all jerk offs. Go to the sauna. You made it sound like go to McDonald's, get a burger.
No, I'm not telling you that you should do that because I don't want you to pass away. But I do think that sauna is a dangerous place sometimes.
What weight do you think unofficially? Because I know you have to rule on Thursday. What weight do you think I have to be at for you, Chris Gucci? Obviously, we'll talk about it. Oh, we're not going to do a show next Monday. We're going to do it Tuesday.
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Yeah. So real quick, just to give you the understanding of how these things work in terms of weigh-ins for championship bouts, you get a 1 pound allowance for non-title fights. If this is a title fight, you got to make championship weight. So that's 195. In the event that you're not putting your title on the line, or you're not challenging for the title, then you get the 1 pound. So you get to be 196. But if it is a title fight and you don't weigh in at 195, you have to forfeit 30% of your purse to the opponent. And then there's hundreds of other things that could be
all the money I make on my podcast, I have to give up 30%.
30%.
All the money I pay to Doug means he loses 30%.
Whoa! Why do I lose? What do you mean lose?
you're in business with me, everybody loses 30%.
Real quick, we are live, and Michael Caprio says, good afternoon, along with he was somewhere last week and checked out the saunas. Michael, where were you where you checked out the saunas?
Were you someplace you could discuss? Was it near like
I don't know. He
Bada
says, was
Bing's
there
or
last week,
Breathless?
checked out the saunas, so I don't know.
Is Mike Caprio hitting on me? The reason why
Maybe
that's
he wants to
important
sit in the sauna with you. Yeah.
because Mike Caprio is also one of our sponsors. So what? You know what? I'm getting texts that are saying that I have to be in a sauna with Mike Caprio and Janine Michaud. Now that's are we taking this too far, Chris? All our advertisers have to be in a sauna. This is not right. It's not right, I tell you. All right. Well, I will weigh in on Thursday.
Sojo Spa Club.
I love Michael Caprio. We're going to get to him in a minute because he is from Cornhole. All right. So that's it. I'm right now 199.9. I've been hustling. I'm on day 20. I forget. I'm on so many days consecutive of over 10,000 steps. I feel good about that. I've been out and about trying to get involved. So let's talk about sports real quick. Of course, this beginning of the show took longer than I thought, but that's okay because we love talking about anything we want because it's my show. I get to decide what we do. We'll talk about the New York Rangers down 2-1. Look, I'm having a blast with this. I am one of the biggest Ranger fans only during the playoffs of all time. I don't watch. This year I logged in on my Apple Watch about 57 seconds of Ranger watching. That includes Devils and the Islanders and highlights, including like even on Eyewitness News. But I love watching the playoffs. I thought the Rangers goalie was shitty during the Penguin series. Everybody said I was wrong, but the visual to me, it was off. I think the Ranger goalie now really looks like it's either I win it or we don't because the rest of the Rangers, they don't know how to shoot anything on goal. But the games are close. They're fun. Clearly, Carolina is way better, if you ask me. But we got a great goalie in there. We're hanging tough. The guy changed it around. Some of the shifts. It was fun to watch. Game was, all 1-point games, really. And I'm just loving it. I mean, you know what it's like? It's like soccer for me. I hate soccer. Everybody knows that. But like during the World Cup, when your team is playing, the Americans, not when Ireland or Italy's playing. We already had that argument. These stupid people going like, oh, go Italy. No, just because you're Italian. Don't go nuts over that. Italy won it. They make me sick. But during the World Cup, when the Americans are in it, you feel like there's like, this is cool. Like, I don't have to watch soccer for 4 years, but I'll watch it when that is. So I enjoy the NHL playoffs only because like overtimes are just crazy. It's like so unfair how it is. You could be kicking someone's ass, you go to overtime, and a shitty goal just sneaks through. It's like, I love it. I know, Chris, you're a huge hockey fan. You go out of your way to like not discuss hockey.
It's not that I go out of my way to not discuss it. I don't know anything about it other than
are you
what
a
I've
Ranger
learned.
fan though? Do you root for the Rangers?
Absolutely not. I'm the anti-Rangers fan. I wouldn't say I don't like the Rangers, but I just don't get on board with a local team just because it's a local team. I've played a lot of NHL hockey on the video game, and typically I play with either Calgary in the older game or I played with Tampa Bay in the newer game, and this is who I've been using, so I like Tampa Bay.
They got the most skill.
He
wants to
defending
win.
champion, two-time defending champions, but I'm not a front runner. I just don't care about it. And to me, here's what I equate watching hockey to. And no disrespect to hockey because I understand how hard it is, and it is an exciting sport when they fight. But other than that, I just can't get behind it. It looks like you ever have one of those bad dreams where you're in a fight and you're trying to throw punches, but you just can't land them. When the team that you're rooting for has the puck, that's the equivalent of the feeling that I get when I'm like, they need to score, but they just can't move. And it feels that way to me. So frustrating and just not enough scoring. They have a new hockey league out where they don't even play hockey. They line up in hockey uniforms on skates and they just fight.
That's great. See, I love the fighting.
That to me is like, all right. If they settled overtime, if they were like, okay, we have an overtime and it doesn't work out after the first overtime, you pick a guy, we'll pick a guy, and they fight to settle it, then that's
So
Then I'd
you
watch
enjoy
it.
it because you're one of those MMA guys. The only thing I don't agree with anything, I agree with what you just said. And of course, when we talk about things like this, a lot of it's tongue in cheek. We're having fun. But you just said, like, when I play the NHL video games, after that, all I heard was, ooh. But again, I'm 56 and you're 39. And that's the difference. I just missed this video game stuff, which is a $9 billion business worldwide. But yes, me and Chris are not hockey fans, but we do get a kick out of how exciting it is. And I think
I don't root against the Rangers because I have friends that are Rangers fans, so I root for the Rangers for their success. But when they lose, I don't care.
In 1994, how old were you? You were 11.
I was 12, or 11, 12.
Yeah, so you don't really remember like drinking during.
No, I remember it happening. I didn't care then either, though.
You weren't in a bar drinking. So by the way, when you root for your new rule, okay, and Chris is totally going to be on board with this. Outside of my dad rooted for it, all that shit, which I am for the Yankees, Chris and Dave with the Packer Cowboy bullshit. To me, the first time you really get into your team is when you're Chris. You're already half smiling because you know where I'm going with this. You have to enjoy your first drinking at a bar with your buddies when your team is in the big thing.
Yeah,
that to me is when you're like. I know Yankee fans who are like during the Jeter run.
I turned 21 during the Jeter run.
Yeah,
so it was like
you could say you were a Yankee fan when you were little, and I might agree, but to me, you became a Yankee fan at Riffy's or one of the bars that were back in Woodbridge.
Probably, and I was the guy that I was at Yankee Stadium 20 times a year, 25 times a year, every playoff series, all that shit. So like I was spending every dollar I earned was going to the Yankee game.
I root for everybody to enjoy their. Well, I'm not saying like drinking, like alcoholic rage. I'm talking about like when you can be out with people, boozing, having a good time,
yelling at the TV,
yelling at the television. That to me is a rite of passion. So there you go. So let's talk about our Yankees now. Yankees are playing good baseball still. They lost 2 yesterday, but they have a great record. So again, I feel stupid busting their chops, but I don't know. I still think Gallo, Higgy, Hicks, and here's a guy that everyone for some reason is not nailing to the cross, and I don't understand it. I think this guy Rizzo stinks, and here's why. I'm convinced, Chris, that if you or I were batting in between Judge and Stanton, who are arguably having like MVP kind of seasons, a little bias there, and he's only batting like 228. This guy stinks. He plays the Yankee Stadium. He's a lefty. It's 194 to hit a home run, and everybody talks about his. He stinks. I for some reason, whoever does his PR, I want to hire for this show because it'll be like Jimmy Palumbo just goes ahead of Joe Rogan for downloads here. This guy Rizzo, I think, stinks. Anyway,
I'm going to dispute this, right? I'm going to dispute this.
But I go by 228, and he doesn't have any RBIs or home runs. What's there to dispute?
Because
stinks.
I understand. Look, to me, you're looking at his numbers as a whole. I'm looking at how Aaron Judge's numbers have shot out of a cannon and Stanton's numbers have shot out of a cannon since they had a lefty batting in between them that has a power threat. That changes the way the teams approach them. Trust me, their numbers are through the roof better when Rizzo's in the lineup.
But here's the thing, though. How great is it if you're the opposing manager? You're like, all right, we gotta face Judge, but the guy after him always sucks. So that's like here's he looks at it like this. He's like, we got Judge, then it's like kind of having a pitcher bat, and then we got to face Stanton.
Yeah, but a pitcher that if you make a mistake against him, he's hitting it out of the park.
No, but
how many home runs has he got? He's like third in the AL.
How many home runs? How many RBIs does he have?
I mean, the guy's got to be on base for you to get an RBI.
He's got 12 home runs. He's got maybe 12 RBIs. He stinks. And when I say stinks, I mean it with an asterisk in terms of fans. We rip on Gallo because Gallo's batting like 112, but I think Rizzo stinks. I don't care what anybody says. But also Hicks, my God, he looks awful. And here's another guy I'm about to bash because I think the Yankees have 3 good players. Cortez, what's his name? Cole. Judge and Stanton. But you know what? Like, you know who's awesome? I just was watching him a little bit over the weekend. The guy Devers on the Red Sox. This guy's batting .335. He hits the ball hard. He hits RBIs. He's like, man, is he the whole package? But you know who I think is not catching shit in New York because their team's doing well? Doesn't Lindor make like $78 million an inning? He's batting .239. He's in like Rizzo category there.
Yeah.
I think Lindor should be catching some real heat. I don't care how good a shortstop he plays. .239, and you're one of the highest paid players in baseball?
Yeah,
and you're
.239 is not acceptable. He's got to be batting like .265, and then I'll be like, all right. Because that's what you got, though. Well, you got to look at Lindor's average before he came there. You're not getting
he's
a
batting
guy
30 points less than what he has. I just think this guy, he is exciting to watch, and he's always clapping, and he's the spearhead.
Oh, he's definitely slightly overpaid at this point, but
slightly. If I were Judge, I would. You know what I would do? I would say if I were Aaron Judge, I'd wait for the season.
Slightly overpaid. You want to know why?
Say, hey,
because
Lindor,
look at the contracts.
I got to go up to Lindor and say, Lindor, can you come with me to Cashman's office while I'm negotiating? I'm just going to have him stare at you and say, look at this guy who stinks. Anyway, I think
you ready
Lindor
to admit that you were dead wrong about Judge yet?
Well, by the way, did you see that little slip in the outfield? How close did I become? Becoming so right.
Are you rooting for Judge to get hurt so you could be right?
Well, that's exactly was my whole point.
Yeah,
the Yankees offered it.
So the only way you could be right is if Aaron Judge gets hurt. So then you'd be like, I told you so. And then you have a silver lining. You're forgetting my argument. My argument was, yes, if the season goes on, he's going to probably get, look at that. Adrian Full got to get involved. Hey, what's up, buddy? Another Chicago guy. No, you don't understand. He's the way it is now. He's probably going to get $80 or $90 million more. There's no question about that. But if he gets hurt, it's not worth it. It wasn't worth it. If he gets hurt, he won't get 80. He's going to get $20 million more. Why? I always looked at it as like going to Vegas. So if he gets hurt, he's going to get more even if he gets hurt. He's going to get more regardless. He's going to get more than what the Yankees offered him no matter what happens this year. I can promise you that.
We can't,
if he blows out an ACL, he's going to get more than $230 million. I'll guarantee it.
Listen to me. Oh, from another team, maybe.
But more.
Yeah, okay. Well, listen. I think Aaron Judge is going to sign with the Yankees anyway. I don't care if someone offers him $50 million more. He's still going to stay. The gamble was not worth it. I don't care what anybody says. But we'll see. We can't make this discussion until he hopefully doesn't get hurt.
When he signs that contract and he got, like you said, 60 to 80 million more in there, then it was worth it.
Listen, if Judge gets hurt, it'll be brutal because then like Gallo and Rizzo have to play more. It's awful. Anyway, let's talk about the PGA, which I find I don't watch much golf. I really don't. But I kind of watch the majors, or I keep an eye on it. I just laugh, and I know what happened on that last hole. And I think, Chris, you may agree with me. I don't know. To me, it's like that's exactly what would have happened to you or I. It's like, dude, par the hole, and you win for the first time. He's from Chile, whatever you want to call it. He's going to win a master, right? All you got to do is par the hole. And there's two guys behind him at the one-stroke lead behind. And you par, you win. If you bogey, you're in the playoff. It's such a nice atmosphere. The guy played tremendous golf for 4 days. And the first one, he rips foul into the wake. And not only does he, if I were me, suicide prevention, I would be like, what do you mean? I'm not? Then you have to watch the playoff. Supposedly in the interview, they had to shut the TVs off. And then if you're the guy, he was down 7 strokes to start Sunday. So he just said, screw it, I'm just going to play some golf. And then next thing, he's like, and you knew he had to be, nobody was confident. You can't watch the last hole and be like, oh, he's definitely got a double bogey here, Then it would have been a 3-way playoff.
What was it? $1.8 million?
$1.8 million missed shots and all that. Of course, Tiger Woods, everybody's ripping on Tiger Woods. I got a different take on it. Everybody's saying he's shot, he's done, he doesn't play that much anymore, only the majors, blah, blah, I get it. But I don't think anybody talks about what he had to do to make the cut. Look at the names of the guys who, in the last 9 holes Friday, were in the running for making the cut, and Tiger actually pulled it off. I'm not a Tiger Woods fan. I think he's a little bit of a jerk off. Best golfer of all time. You can make the argument. But he actually clawed and fought to make the cut, where a lot of other names were down by a stroke or two of the cut, and they shit the bed. And after that, Saturday he had a brutal day, and I think his leg is hurt and all that and stuff. But it's hard for him to walk around. Let's face it. But people that actually count him out of never winning a major, I'm not.
I'm definitely not counting him out.
People who have counted out LeBron James because
wasn't it I mean, fairly recent where he had a nice little round. You could put it together for a couple of days. It is after all Tiger Woods. Michael Jordan dropped 50 when he was 50, pretty much.
You know what? It's like LeBron James. Even though LeBron is older, I have no doubt LeBron James is going to come out one year, sign with a team that has 9 All-Stars already, and he can win the championship again. That's my faith in LeBron James. Of course, that was just a little dig at LeBron, but you can't count out guys like LeBron and Jordan. You just can't do it. So yes, PGA, the poor guy, God, he double bogeyed the last hole, and you could see it too. Like he was like, I'm blowing this. And so, like, imagine being your family. Probably half the country was watching back in his hometown, and just, oh my God, what do you say? All right, but that's it. I'm not a golf guy, so what the hell do I know about golf? I know when a guy shits the bed. And he shit the bed. I got a big shout out to another favorite sport of mine. Maybe this show should be called the Jimmy's non-favorite sports show. Rutgers lacrosse making the Final Four. To me, this is a big deal. I'm not a lacrosse fan, but my nieces and nephews all played it, and I always wish them well. And they were all very good at it, including Madison, which is an NIL agreement user here at Chop Sports. My niece Madison, who's awesome. She plays for Central Connecticut State. And but Rutgers making the Final Four, that's just awesome. The kid's playing really well. And what I like about it, I think Rutgers has like 21 sports, in the Big Ten and stuff. And when they first joined the Big Ten, I believe probably all 21 finished in the bottom 4. Maybe not wrestling, but they're all very low in the Big Ten. But in the last 2 or 3 years, Rutgers sports, all of the sports, every one of them pretty much has gone up to almost the middle of the pack, which is cool. A couple haven't yet. But of course, obviously wrestling is really awesome. Basketball team making tournaments and stuff. But Big Daddy football, when you don't do it in football, you literally suffer all 21 sports. But still, as a Rutgers fan, Rutgers does not suck in the Big Ten. You can now make that statement. And maybe this year, I predict Rutgers will have one huge knock somebody off. That's my prediction. Just one. Now they may get knocked off themselves by somebody else, but they're gonna uppercut one team. That's my prediction. But good Rutgers lacrosse. They're in the Final Four, which is next week. By the time I try to figure out how they even run that tournament, I'll be an old man. But it's time right now for our second sponsor of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to discuss, okay? CornholeLevel.com. That's right. Cornhole Level. I still got my little gadget here, which I left in the studios. This little thing right here, it's $19.95. But if you put in JP Show or Chop Sports into the code thing, promo code box online at CornholeLevel.com, you will get this little gadget. Now, let me tell you something. Maybe I should hang this gadget on my glasses to see if I'm on the level. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll do this whole thing with this thing on. Anyway, what it does is you hook this thing on the hole and you move it to and fro and up and down. And there's a little bubble in there, just like a level. And what it does is it levels your, like right here, I have to move it a little bit. It levels your cornhole. Is there a word for this thing? What do you call it?
Just said it levels your cornhole, and then you stopped, so that came off very off-putting to the audience.
But is there like a weird word? Like
I just think that's a cornhole board.
Cornhole board. That's it. I bet there's some word that someone will invent. It's called like, oh, that's the rickety. Oh, you got to bash my luckily. But this thing totally levels it. Look, my buddy Mike Caprio designed this because he got aggravated because he sucks in cornhole, and he got just a little better, and he designed this. By the way, it's fun to bash my advertisers. That's how I roll here. I bash Undefeated Media, Absolute Eyewear, and CornholeLevel.com. But you got to check this thing out. It's only $19.95. This is great material to bring to a barbecue. I guess I got to read all the stats about this thing. No more using the regular level to level your cornhole board. It instantly measures pitch and roll. Works on all cornhole boards, small enough to take with you anywhere, indoors, outdoors, barbecues, tournaments. Simply drop on the board, level and play. and he is going to be at the Chop Sports Barbecue on June 24th. Chris?
26th. It's June 26th.
26th. I just want to make sure you're still doing the show. June 26th at Merrill Park.
Getting
he's gonna be
live
playing
updates on my wallet situation, but
okay. All right, we're gonna get to that in a second.
No, we
So
don't have to.
Come check him out. We're gonna be playing some cornhole there, and everybody knows how much I love cornhole. Everybody knows how good I am at it, but I just didn't play for 20 minutes to get good at it yet. So I feel bad. People are like, Jimmy, you're not any good. I'm like, I know. I got to do my. It's like I got to do my 20 minutes, and then I'll be ranked 8th in the country. And so it's like pickleball. You play pickleball over 2 weeks, and it's like, wow, I'm on ESPN now playing pickleball. That's a funny joke if you play pickleball. Anyway, check this thing out, cornholelevel.com. Promo code JP Sports Show. No, JP, what the hell is it? JP Show, and also Chop Sports, and get your 10 or 20% off, whatever the hell it is. And Caprio's listening live. He's been busting my balls all weekend, so there's your spot there, buddy. Love you to death. All right, let's see. Chris, my weekend. Well, first of all, give me an update on your wallet.
There is no update. It's like they don't have it. So I got to call I got to proceed with I'm going to go over there and look myself because I have to do that.
So here's what I think happened. The guy took it. He took the cash. How much cash was in it? Over $100?
Yeah, it was over. Definitely like, between 2 and 3.
Okay. $200 or $300. That sucks, by the way.
Yeah.
$200 or $300 in cash. He took the cash, tossed it into the bushes. Okay. That's what people do when you're trying to steal money. And then, oh shit, the guy's looking now. And so they wanted to at least maybe figure out a way, but then he realized, now we got to just get rid of this wallet. So there's no cameras. I would say you call up the guy and say, hey, there's like cameras that can see the bench. I don't feel like calling up the company and doing the.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call the owner because, they're not speaking really. It's like broken English. It's hard to communicate with these guys over there. So I'm going to call the owner of the company and say, hey, look, you got your guys. He said,
do you have a lead name? Do you have one lead name from the guy? By the way, they all speak English, by the way.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Right? And listen, I'm not bashing the landscapers. Those guys work hard, by the way.
Yeah, of course. But and
look,
I'm not even really mad about, if I find a wallet and I see business cards of the building that I'm cutting the grass for, and it's like, oh, Chop Sports. I look up at the sign and it says Chop Sports. I'm probably going to walk in the building and say, hey, I found this. That's me. I'm not going to hold anybody accountable.
$20. Yeah. I would probably just take $20, not the whole $300. No, I think returning it, you get so much more out of going out of your way to returning the wallet. You feel like you're
take the money and put the wallet on the steps outside the building.
Right. Because, listen, it's common knowledge. Everybody knows where Chop Sports is because on the Jimmy Palumbo show, we always say from downtown, Manawan. But I hope you get your wallet. Now we have a topic for next week's show. Will Chris get his wallet back?
Yes. Did he get into Tiki Bar with the paper ID that you have to print off online? Because right now no ID.
By the way, you just clearly also don't look 21. Well,
yeah, but these days it's very different because
you got to go in by yourself because if you walk in with your girlfriend, they're not
exactly. Well, if I walk in with my girlfriend and 8 girls, they might not care because it'll be with her and her friends. But at the same time, I'm not really trying to have that conversation in front of 10 people.
Tiki Bar. Well, the Tiki Bar is the only bar down the shore you're allowed to go in if you're over 40. But this weekend I did stand up. Okay, now classic, Chris. You would have dug here. I did it at the Lake Stockton Comedy Night. It was this little lake with a bunch of houses around it. It's kind of a pretty lake with a little bit of a beach. And everybody brought their beach chairs. There was like only a porta potty as a bathroom. There was no clubhouse. It was underneath this like little porch that had bees all over it and bugs all over the place. I had to wear like off all over. And I was like, oh my God. But also the coolest thing was, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. These people really are sitting in their chairs. They're drinking beers. And there was about 100 people there. And but the cool thing was with the microphone, and like whoever set up the microphone, perfect, perfect miking, as they say. Because when you talked really loud, if you pushed it, there was an echo across the lake. So immediately I had to go into Bob Shepard, and I was so into it. They didn't know who I was. I was just like, ladies and gentlemen, now doing stand-up at Lakes. And I was like, you got that little bit of an echo. I was like, part of me wanted to just like, I want to go there tomorrow and just sit with the speaker and just do Bob Shepard for 2 hours.
Just start recording all your live reads.
Yeah, all live reads are from Lake Stockton. But it was a good time, cool people. Big shout out to Bobby Gonzo, who booked me the gig. I made a few dollars. I had fun up there. It was also in an area I don't know much about, Sussex County up there. I was actually doing my first bit was kind of like, didn't they shoot Friday the 13th up here? You guys look like you're the people that didn't die. But then I had to talk about, Mark Wahlberg that I had on my show from Temptation Island and Antiques Roadshow. I know I discussed this. His wife is considered horror film royalty because his wife was the first person killed in the Friday the 13th series. When I said that, matter of fact, I got to text Mark this. When I said that, you heard like an ooh and an ah, as if like, well, it was like, if I said I'm personal friends with Derek Jeter, I would have got the same reaction with this crowd as I know personally the first person killed in Friday the 13th, which was really awesome. But it was a cool gig. I also had, my daughter had a dance competition. I ended up staying there, hanging out with Bobby Gonzo, and he wanted me to mingle with the crowd afterwards. So by the time I got home, it was very, very, very late. And I had to be in Freehold, so from Ramsey to Freehold, by 8:56 in the morning. And it's like an hour and 35 minutes away from my house. So I woke up feeling like shit, tired, couldn't fall asleep when you first got home. I had to shower. By the time I got up, I shot down there. It was annoying. And I wanted to see my daughter do her solo. That's what dads do. You make it happen if you can. And I didn't mind one bit. But the weirdest thing happened at this competition. It was at a place called I Play America, which is like half the building is like an indoor St. John Vianney fair with like rides. And
I know what it is.
Down in Freehold. They probably have a couple of them around.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have like a pub in there. And also they had food that they were selling. But people didn't realize you go to the left, you can get a pub food, but you go to the right where the competition is. And they had like food, but they had like shitty food, not like a lot of these people, especially in Bergen County, they're health conscious. Dude, they were checking bags, okay, as if you were at Newark Airport, okay. It was like they were checking only for food. You could have walked in with an AK-47, a gun, no problem, push it up. But if you walked in with a box of Munchkins or any kind of bagels, there was girls shoving bagels like in their shirts, trying to like back it in, and these two ladies in their 60s, they look like offensive linemen for Texas A&M. They were like checking bags and yelling and looking out the window. Look at them. That one. They were looking at the cars coming in. Who was shoving bagels in their pocket? I'm like, this is insanity. I walked in with a cup of coffee. She busted my balls, and I gave her a look like, I'm not giving up my cup of coffee, and my daughter's going on stage soon. So like, I did the old, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep going. And if you got to call the sheriff, then, I win. Because if you get, I just was like, you know what I mean? I had to look. I was tired. It was morning. I had my Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And I was like, no, I'm bringing in my coffee.
What would you have done if she just put you right on your ass right there? She
could have pancaked you for sure. I might have been able to juke her at the line, maybe get deep. But, if you were quarterback, you would have thrown the ball short for an interception. But I got in there. My daughter did great. The King Center did great. All their dances. They really did. But I was really proud of my daughter. Shout out because, listen, she's a good little dancer, but it's the first time doing a solo. So this is her, I don't know, 5th or 6th time doing it. First year doing a solo. And, sometimes she gets nervous and she, we talk about, I kind of give her my acting or showbiz insights. Now you just got to go up there and do it, And I thought she nailed it. She looked confident. It was really fun to watch. And the rest of her dances were cool. But the place was just, out of control with the security. I'm thinking like they have like rap stars do concerts there. What is the security like there? They call the FBI in? I mean, but you know what? I guess fans of rap people don't bring in food. Maybe they bring in booze. I don't know. But literally, I could have walked in with a.
Usually it's just weed.
Yeah, maybe that too. But that was it down there at I Play America. The King Center did well. I also, started playing pickleball again. And it was a little sticky out Saturday. Played a little bit during the week as well. I'm starting to pick up my game a little bit because I'm tired of people telling me how good they are in pickleball. And I'm tired of me telling them you're not that good. It's just an easy sport to play. Like Chris, you say you play tennis a little bit. If you played pickleball 3 times, I might be a little bit better than you, but it would be like you wouldn't notice from 60 yards away if we were watching. You wouldn't be able to go, oh, look at that. Jimmy's way better. Okay. It's one of those sports. And until you play, the first time you play pickleball, you're actually going to stop and text me and say, Jimmy, you're so right. The first 10, 20
I'm
minutes.
probably going to be like, Jimmy, I'm not going to be a little worse than you. I'm going to be a lot better than you.
Okay, you probably think that way because you think you're in shape, even though everybody knows you're a fat bastard. But I just love calling Chris fat because he's not fat really, but he kind of is.
Skinny fat. I'm 40. What do you expect?
Listen, I look like Trevor
I can
Bourbon.
say that now.
You're not 40 yet, though, bro. You got 3 more days. But I'm going to throw this. I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. I'm actually going to throw someone above the bus. I played with this lady. Her name is Barbara. I'm 56. She's got to be at least 10 years older than me. She's like an older grandmother looking lady. I played with her. And dude, she was so awesome. Like the only reason why I'm better is because I'm younger and maybe because I'm a guy, but like she was so awesome. I was like, I want to play with you all day. Cause like you get in these matches with these 2 guys and they think like, oh, no, we're just going to whack it at the older lady. And like, I was like, go ahead. Cause it's coming right back at you, man. Like, she couldn't move that well, but she positioned herself so beautifully where in order for you to make her move, you had to make an awesome shot. Like, and I could see in the other guy's face, we were up like 10-6. And I could see the guy was like, I can't believe we're going to lose to this old lady. And I'm looking at her like, I can, because you stink. And you're afraid to hit it to me, because if you hit it to me, I'm going to smack it back. But if you go to old Barb over there, she was wonderful. We had funny one-liners in between points. I'm actually going to buy the paddle she has because it was like this awesome looking paddle. And I'm like, I love the way the ball sounded off. It was great. So a big shout out to Barbara. You are a wonderful player. But something weird happened during the match. And again, you got to watch because people who play pickleball are creepy. I've been saying this. They're creepy nice. They're nice, but they're creepy. That's a joke, but it's funny only if you play pickleball up in Bergen County. But the woman was playing, again, a lady about probably 10 years older than me. And some of the women like to play with the men because they like to see where they stand, you know, they have competitive juices. They were probably athletes. I love it. I don't care. And you know, you what you do is you play the match. You rotate players the whole day. So sometimes you're the worst player on the court. Sometimes you're the best player. And that makes you a better player by trying different things. But I hit a shot down the line and she went for it and she hurt her back. And I could tell she really was going like, oh. I was like, hey, you okay? You okay? And she's like, oh, I hurt my back. And then she goes, yeah, I'm all right. She started playing. We were up like 5-2 or something like that. But she tried to swing again. And she was like, I was like, I stopped the point. I was like, hey, are you okay? She's like, nah, I really hurt my back, but let's just finish it out. But it was like, I was like, all right. And then I told my partner, just hit it to her partner at all costs. Don't hit it to the lady. So that's what we did. And then she's like, she couldn't move, but she goes, oh, I can see what you're doing. You're not hitting it to me. Well, I'm like, well, ma'am, you're really hurt. Like, what are you doing here? It's hot out. You're hurt. Like, don't you want to play next week? Like, maybe you really hurt something. We ended up playing another 2-3 points. She goes, maybe I shouldn't play. She was walking off at like 1 mile an hour, like she couldn't move. And the girl I was playing with was kind enough to like try to help her back to her car. But then she goes, no, let me sit on the bench. Maybe I'll loosen it up. And I'm looking at this lady like, lady, you seem like a nice person and you're a very good player. You got hurt. Go home, ice it down, have a cocktail, relax. She wouldn't. We had to help her into the car. I was like, are you okay to drive home? Should we call your husband or whatever? She's like, no, I'm all right. She looked like she was ready to like, you know, she looked like me trying to lose weight. But as these pickle people, they get so it's addicting, this sport. And everybody thinks they're like, you know, John McEnroe, and they're not.
So how much is a pickleball paddle?
You can get one for $30 or $40, but you should probably go to a store and get a package of 2, and they give you 2 balls. And like Franklin sells something for like $50. You get 2 paddles. The paddles suck, but it won't matter to you. Play a little bit. You can play with your girl. You just go out and smack it around. Initially, if you don't have a pickle court, I suggest just playing on over a tennis court. And but you got to learn the rules and stuff. It's
I think they have one right down the street. So They
Dude,
actually have
trust
like
me.
half tennis court, half pickleball, where they play it.
It's real easy to play pickleball. It's very, very hard to be very, very good, because the pro players on ESPN occasionally when they show it, they're all 30 years old, ex-pro tennis players. So like they have a reach that you and I just don't have. Like even if you were the same age, like so they do things so lightning fast, not powerful. They know how to dink, which means you tap it over, and you're like, I can never beat this guy. And there are two people that play at the courts I play on. They're like a girlfriend and boyfriend that they're just so awesome to watch because they're fast, but it's all angles. It's like watching someone play ping pong. It's very good. It's awesome. But one of these days you got to play and you'll have fun. Another announcement: my show in Glen Rock at the what the hell it's called? I always forget. Stone and Rail is sold out. So I can officially say that in 2 months I have 2 sellouts. So Jimmy Palumbo selling out capacity crowds here. Also, here at Undefeated Media, which is one of the largest media companies in Wyckoff. And you know what? That's probably not even true.
That is true. That's 100% true.
Okay.
That's 100% true.
Because I'm pretty sure Chop Sports is the biggest media group in downtown Matawan. So that's what I do. So listen, if you're in a town and you have some kind of media group, you got to be in a town where you're number one. Then I'll consider doing my podcast.
Yeah. Nice.
Even if it's like some small shore town down the shore. But I actually going to do my first audition here. I'm not going to say what the audition is, but it's one of those, Chris, which you'll appreciate. It's like one of those tournaments you enter in pro sports where it's not a major, but like the winner wins like a lot of money. You can see the guy like, I know I didn't win a major in 2 years, but I just won twice the money I win at those majors. So this is one of those. I have an audition where it's real simple. These are the ones. It's like 2 outs in the 9th inning, Game 7 of the World Series, runner on third, and you're up. You get a base hit, you're the hero. If you strike out, you suck. I have one of these auditions. It's a pure money-making one, so that's what we want. Hopefully Doug and his wonderful facilities here will help me out, which he will. I'm busting his balls, but I know he'll do a good job. I admit it again. I watched another episode of This Is Us, the second to last one, but I believe it was kind of the official last one. I think they're doing a little bit of a retrospective tomorrow night. I'm a big fan of the show This Is Us. They just nailed it. Best way to end the show ever because they took 8 weeks to do it. They nailed it. And also Better Call Saul. Again, this show is just the Michael Jordan of shows. I know people bailed on it. Everybody's afraid of, what the hell's the other show? Behaving. Jesus Christ.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. I need to take ginkgo biloba or something. I'm like, if I ever forget like who Lawrence Taylor is. But it's a prequel to Breaking Bad. A lot of people bailed on it. Big mistake. It's really cool. So I'm really enjoying that. But I got to talk about another show. And this is, I'm going to access the inner feminine side for Jimmy Palumbo. There's a show called First Lady. It's on Showtime, one of those channels. Yeah, I think it's on Showtime. And it's really pretty much about Michelle Obama, Betty Ford, and Eleanor Roosevelt. They split back and forth. And Michelle Obama is played by Viola Davis, which, she's a tough out. Betty Ford is with my favorite actress of all time, Michelle Pfeiffer, because I did a movie with her and she was sweet. And also Eleanor Roosevelt is played by Gillian Anderson from the X-Files. And she is just, she's calling for the ball with 6 seconds to go. And there are three, everybody knows who Michelle Obama, Betty Ford, and Eleanor Roosevelt are. It's really a cool thing showing what it's like to be, and I know you didn't watch the show, Chris, but it's really about what it's like to be the first lady and the pitfalls when you first come in, what your agenda is, how do you work with your husband. And the reason why I have an interest in this book, don't ask me why. I read a book probably maybe 10 years ago on the first ladies. I forgot who gave it to me, and it was in my bag. I was on a train, so I started reading it. Next thing you know, it covered all the presidents from from Lincoln's wife all the way to Hillary. To Hillary when she was with Bill there in the office. And I was blown away by how some first ladies pretty much didn't do much. He just stayed home, didn't care. And other first ladies were like so involved with their president's like policy and stuff. It's really incredible. And how they had different meetings. You know, like Nancy Reagan. Nancy Reagan just got on the phone. She in her bed. She had a phone next to her bed. She just got on the phone and she called up like senators and senators' wives saying like, hey, Ronnie's trying to pass this thing. Tell your husband. Like she was vicious on the phone. Barbara Bush was more of the stay out of the way until she was live, which in front of at those when she was at one of those luncheons. And Barbara Bush had a way of walking up to people and being like this nice old lady. And next thing you know, pretty much whispering to the guy, George wants you to vote this way, so you will. And then it was funny because like Clinton, Hillary Clinton was sitting in on meetings. And finally somebody had to go, hey, Bill, she wasn't elected. It's like illegal for her to be here. We're talking about stuff where she doesn't have security clearance. And at first he was like, no, but it's my wife. They're like, no, Bill. Like this is the United States of America. She can't be in a joint chief of staff meeting because she's not vetted out to be in here and stuff like that. But she was heavily involved with Bill's thing. But this show is great because they show Michelle Obama and what a badass she was with her kids in office. And also, you know, Betty Ford. Everybody knows her from the Betty Ford Clinic. They definitely show her as a boozer, but Michelle does a nice job of showing her drunk without, you know, being sloppy with it. And really now that I look, I feel bad for Betty Ford and Gerald Ford because he never really won an election. A big football star at Michigan. He didn't win an election, but he was like a straight up guy, a military guy. He knew his stuff. But he didn't have the personality really to campaign and stuff. So he ends up, of course, you know, Spiro Agnew was the VP. He was scandalizing everything. He gets kicked out. And they just go with Gerald Ford. And, like, he was equipped for the job, for sure. And then Nixon resigned. So this guy went, like, you want to talk about miracle on ice. He's the 1980 hockey team. He went from, like, out of nowhere to next thing you know having the job. And I think if you're the first lady or your family or anybody, and even Ford himself, how do you, in a year and a half, you end up being the president of the United States with, you know, with the, you push a button for the nuclear bombs and stuff. And he also had to handle the Nixon thing and what to do with them. And some people, like the reason why he lost to Carter was because he didn't jail Nixon. And I don't really want to get political, but to me, when it comes to some of these Nixon things, or sometimes you're better off pardoning them so it goes away so that country doesn't get engulfed in a trial. I feel that way now. Sometimes, dude, they just got to go away, some of these people. But I don't want to be political. But so Betty Ford really was in a tough situation there. And Franklin Delano, which is cool because they're kind of showing, it seems like Eleanor was possibly or officially gay. And Franklin Roosevelt, even though he was had polio, he had lovers, and they're touching on that. But also he was president during a crazy time in our country. And he set some new policies that have shaped our country forever. And it's great. But I want to talk about someone on the show. She's an actress, and she's represented by the same manager I am. And I'm friends with her. She's a colleague friend, really. She's a sweetheart, and I've known her for years. Her name is Judy Greer. And she is like the ultimate character actress, even though she's kind of moving into almost a leading lady at this point now. But she is like, you know what? Listen, Judy Greer, the name of my book would be called Judy Greer, I Hate You. Only because she books everything. She's like, you know what it is? She plays the same position I do. She's just better. She books more. She's so talented. She's so good. And she actually came out with a book. It's called I Don't Know What You Know Me From, because she ran into people that would go, I know. How do I know you? How do I know you? Because for years she was just in so many different scenes and so many TV shows. She's great on this show as well. She has, like, on IMDb 238 credits, and I'm at 114. And I think I started a couple years earlier than her, so, like, she's got me beat. But I was like, I looked through all her shows. She's been on everything. She's a badass. And it's just like, God, I so want her career. Her residual checks are probably twice as much as mine. But then I started looking at it, and I realized, wait a minute. about 70 of her credits are from doing like the Jimmy Kimmel Show and Tonight shows or those talk shows. And to me, that doesn't count because those are ones you get after a booking. So I go by the pure booking ones. But I am just so far behind Judy Greer. And she's really a sweet person. I did one TV show with her. I forget the name of it. And she was so sweet and she's really cool. And so a big shout out to Judy Greer, who completely, like, if I'm in a room with Judy Greer, I stay quiet. I defer all questions to her. She's more talented. She works longer. She's just better. But I can still, achieve betterness. But I have a long way to go to catch up to the lovely and talented Judy Greer. I also want to do do you know who she is, Chris? Judy Greer?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I had to Google because I had to put the face to the name, but now
I
that
knew
I
you-
did, yeah.
Listen,
like
anybody doesn't know, listen to me.
it's fitting that you said the book because it's like, well, where do I know her from? And now that's what I'm trying to think of. I'm like, there's been several things that I've watched.
There's no question you've watched her on TV and like significant parts,
Yeah.
I would tell everybody, Google Judy Greer and I'll send you $1 if you don't know who the hell she is by face. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, she's from The Big Bang Theory.
Yep.
She was in.
She's been on, trust me, she's been on a lot of
Yeah.
crap. She's great. She'll probably never hear
Wow,
this.
a lot
but,
of stuff,
maybe I'll tell her because her manager is David Gardner, who's a really cool guy. I met him years ago when he first started well, not even first start, but he was like a young kid managing. And so it's really awesome that David's with reps her and he does a great job with her. So that's that. Other news, let's see. A big shout out to my nephew, John Henry Riccardi, out in LA. He was working for a company, breaking his ass, working really hard. He just got himself into a bad situation there. Wasn't a good work environment, but it was a cool place to work. But after a while, man, Chris, sometimes you just got to walk out of the clubhouse and go play for someone else. I give my nephew credit for that. He just had to get out of there, and he's had a bunch of interviews already, and I think he's going to get something pretty soon. So a big shout out to my nephew, John Henry Riccardi. You're going to do just great, bro. And I bet within maybe by the time by June 1st, he will be working somewhere else.
Before I get my wallet.
Yeah. So either you're going to get
because I didn't
job,
get my wallet through the end of this show. That didn't. Your prediction, while it was,
I was wrong on that.
it was
Now,
a nice gesture.
Wait, though. Wait, my grandpa Frank, please get Chris's wallet. But now you may have the wallet now, and they just didn't call you yet. So I need official ruling on that. But yes, it didn't work. Doesn't always work. But I also got to give a big shout out to my mother who got COVID, and so did my brother and my sister-in-law, and a bunch of my family members I talked about last week. My mom's 82, and she's not quite back yet. So I got to admit, a little nervous. Eileen Joan Palumbo, she got COVID, and she's still pretty banged up. Now she's on day 7 or 8. So we're a little worried about mom. We hope she's still home and everything, but we hope that she bounces back to be the same adorable pain in the ass mother that we know and love. No, my mother's never a pain in the ass. Well, I guess she can be, but we wish you well, Mom. That's our show. I appreciate everybody tuning in live. Chris, a pleasure as always. And listen, I got to give you a happy birthday, even though I'm going to be weighing in on Thursday. Happy birthday, Chris Gucci and Jimmy Palumbo. I turned 57.
Same to you.
By the way, that's depressing me. I turned 57, and you turned 40, which I remember well. I was so youthful. I was fat then too, though. And that's it. And we will be back next week with a very special guest. Of course, you never quite get that right. You always have a little bit of the end of the original song. You see, when Chris does it, it's always perfect. So the pressure's on. My show always ends with a technical issue. But no, that's okay. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.